What's up, everyone? Michelle Alexandria coming at you with another video from Vegas. See, look at that beautiful view back there. Get all the downtown Vegas at night. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. I'm actually thinking about trying to cut my trip short and leaving on Friday right after the show because NFL draft starts tomorrow. So I already can't get anything to eat in this stupid hotel. It's going to be a disaster starting tomorrow with the NFL draft, and they're going to be shutting down streets and shutting down the strip and everything. I don't think the folks at CinemaCon planned this particularly well. So yesterday was kind of a bad day because it started off with neon, and the neon presentation felt like a bait and switch because basically it was about 90 minutes industry stuff where they're giving awards to cinema theater owners and all that kind of stuff. So you're sitting there going, oh God, can we please get to the movies that we're here to see? I don't care about the movie theater industry, which is bad because, this is a movie theater industry convention. So they finally got the neon. And neon was basically out there for 30 minutes. And their whole thing was they showed us David Cronenberg came out and they gave us a 2-minute clip, Crimes of the Future from David Cronenberg. And oh my God, this trailer was disturbing. It was disturbing as heck. Basically it stars Viggo Mortensen and a bunch of other people that I don't know their names. I was just trying to type up what the clip was, but basically it's a clip I think is like a horror film set in a future world where people are getting cybernetic body parts added to themselves and some other nonsense is happening, and I'm like, I don't understand this. This is like the weirdest trailer I've ever seen, and it's gross. I'm like, how do you put that stuff into a trailer? There's a sequence where basically they're literally like cutting open a guy right across the chest, and you see blood and everything coming out of it, and they put in like this cybernetic thing into the chest, but then a minute later, a couple of seconds later, the doctor or woman for some reason is sucking at the blood in the chest, and I'm like, oh wow, we're going there. That's where we're going with this, and I'm like, wow. Wow, it was deeply, deeply disturbing. And then after that, basically the rest of Neon's presentation was all about the David Bowie documentary film, Moon Age Daydream. So they showed us about 15 minutes of that movie, and they really talked about it for about 15 minutes, and they showed us 3 concert scenes. So they showed us, I forgot what the opening number was, but it was a pretty cool number. But then they did Ziggy Stardust, like a clip, a 4-minute concert video of Ziggy Stardust, and then they did one of my all-time favorite songs, which was "We Can Be Heroes for Just One Day." And get that cool reference, do 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 do. That I left the theater with a huge smile in that CinemaCon Coliseum because they were saying this documentary has 3 separate mixes that were made specifically for this documentary. Remix David Bowie songs. They had a 12.1 mix, a 12.1 Atmos mix, a 5.1 mix, and then I think they had a stereo mix of this thing. And in that CinemaCon Coliseum, they were doing a full bore. They did the full bore 12.1 Atmos audio mix, and I swear, I never heard Heroes sound that good. It was so awesome. And the documentary sounds really cool because it's the first time David Bowie has ever actually sanctioned an official documentary of his life. So basically they had thousands and thousands of archival footage that they could use in exclusive footage. So the clip of Heroes that they showed apparently was original. And it was weird because he wasn't in his Ziggy Stardust get up in this clip. They showed him actually kind of entering the arena and sitting alone by himself. And it's really neat because they show him from behind. And he looks so young and like just this weird little like normal person, and he had like short hair, and you see his short, clean shaven hair from the back, and he's like just like this, watching people file in, and then they show the cameras behind him as he walks up to the stage, and you're like, that is David Bowie, but they're not showing the front, so you're not quite sure if it's David Bowie. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this documentary. That's going to be awesome. And then they showed another documentary for another movie called Fire of Love, and it's a documentary about Kate and Maurice, and they are volcano researchers. And I think there's a tragedy that happens when basically they're researching a volcano and maybe they get caught up in an eruption. But apparently before that happened, they had like thousands of hours. I don't know how these people always have thousands of hours of footage. I guess me being a YouTuber, maybe I have thousands of hours of myself just lying around for someone to do a documentary on my life at some point. Hint, hint. You can make a documentary on my life if you pay me. I'm just saying, all you studio people who may be watching this. So yeah, that was it was an intriguing documentary. I wouldn't see that in a movie theater. I would probably wait and see that at home. But yeah, David Bowie, that's something you definitely have to see on a big screen and like a proper Atmos with the theater that has a proper Atmos soundtrack, because I was like, wow, that is awesome. Awesome. And then right after that, we hung out for a while because there was a huge like 5-hour block of like empty 4-hour block of empty time between when Neon ended at 11:30 and 4 p.m. when the WB presentation was going to be. So the scheduling was a little odd, but I think that was designed so that people would actually have time to go to the show floor, which I didn't actually get to yesterday because Cionic was doing a live podcast. I forgot the name of their podcast. I'll put it in the description. Maybe tonight or tomorrow when I get home, or sometime in the next couple of days. I'll put the name of the podcast at home. But it was a really cool podcast because they had someone there from NATO. It was a live broadcast from the Cionic Custom Theater Room, which is a beautiful place. And they had David Leitch there, who was talking about. And the whole 1 hour presentation was basically about the movie theater experience and a little bit about the creative process. It was a really great podcast. I'm gonna have to download it and listen to it. And I got the only question at the end of it. So if you download the podcast, which is why I'm gonna link it, because if you download the podcast, I had the only question in the audience because they really didn't take any questions, and I was like, I have 2 questions really, but I would only ask one. And the question I asked David Leitch, and David Leitch looked like he knew me. I don't know what that's all about. I'm starting to feel a little paranoid or maybe conceited because I now feel like everyone knows me, and I'm like, everyone's watching me. Someone's always watching me. So yeah, that was really weird. But the podcast was really fun. And in case you want to know, my question was, as someone, since we're here at Cionic, and this is all about technology and movie theaters, what can NATO do, and what can directors like you, David Leitch, do to ensure that the technical aspects of the content is better? Because if anyone has followed me on YouTube for a while, you know I've been dabbling in AV and talking about TVs I'm trying to get. I'm trying to settle on a TV, people. So I have an LG C2 OLED, beautiful TV. But the one thing I've noticed is the technical quality of the content just needs to be better. And I noticed that a lot of movies are shot darker and darker and darker and all this other stuff. So that's what I wanted to get their thoughts on was what can directors do to ensure that at least the shadow details and the black levels and the world that the filming has color. You can't have all this bright contrast and super duper laser technology, but as director's intent, your films are being shot to look all drabby and gritty, and by the time it gets to the theater, half the screen is crushed black, and you can't really make out anything. So yeah, their response was really good. So download that podcast. I'll find the name and I'll put a link to it in the description a little later today when I have time. Today's going to be a busy day. So yeah, that's Neon. That's Neon. Now let's get to the big dog. Let's get to Warner Brothers. And I've added Neon to this one simply because there wasn't enough there to justify its own video, separate video. So Warner Brothers. What happened at the Warner Brothers presentation? Pretty much exactly what you would expect. But Warner Brothers actually did bring out the stars. They brought out the stars for all their movies. So it felt like CinemaCon of old. So that was really nice. It was weird. I didn't even receive an invite to like the red carpet or anything. So I don't even know if there was a red carpet. But I am all in for Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. I am so into it. Aisha Tyler came out. She was the MC of the event for the Warner Brothers presentation. So I always love me some Aisha because she's an awesome MC and she's funny. She's amazing. I've talked to her on the phone numerous times, but I never got a chance to meet her in person. I would love to meet Aisha Tyler. You don't see enough of Aisha Tyler. She's awesome. So yeah, they did a couple of and for some reason, either my notes are out of order or I'm just misremembering things. So basically, they came out and first thing they announced was the Batman is sitting at $762 billion at the box office right now, and they're tickle pink about it. And hey, by the way, Matt Reeves came out and talked about the success of the Batman, and then said, hey, Batman 2 is official. We'll start shooting in a few months. So, woo, Batman 2. Although, was anyone shocked by that? And they've always said this was going to be a trilogy, and I don't think there was any doubt that there would be. But it's Warner Brothers. I'm sorry, it's Warner Brothers and DC, so nothing is truly guaranteed with that company. Nothing is truly guaranteed with that company. So yeah, they officially announced the Batman 2 coming out. Woo! I love that movie, and I watched it on my new C2 OLED last week. And while it really crushed blast in the theater on that OLED, I was like, wow, it looks amazing on that OLED. So anyway, the Batman 2 officially announced. Then it came out and announced the Lord of the Rings animated series is coming next. And this is the theme of the WB presentation. It was most of the stuff they announced is next year, next summer and beyond. And I'm like, I don't care about next summer and beyond. I want to know what WB stuff I'm going to be watching this year, not 2023. So yeah, the Lord of the Rings animated series coming in August of 2023. And considering how crappy Hollywood is these days, I guarantee you, they're going to end up splitting that into two or three movies, for reasons. So, we can't get movies anymore. We're basically watching TV on the big screen. That's what we're doing now. We can't get a single movie that tells a full, complete story that's from beginning, middle, and end. No, it has to be told over the course of 2, 3, 4 movies. I have a rant about that coming up when I get back. Wicket's going to be split into 2 movies. I found that out yesterday, and I was kind of put a damper on my day for some reason. So yeah, Lord of the Rings animated series coming in next August. And then Blue Beetle will be released theatrically in 2023 next summer as well. And that's kind of weird because I thought the Blue Beetle was going to be an HBO Max thing. But no, Blue Beetle is going to be theatrical. So I'm like, wow, okay. I'm not sure how well a movie like the Blue Beetle will do in theaters, but whatevs. I've never been a fan of the Blue Beetle, but again, whatevs. So after that, that's when the show actually officially started. When they brought out Aisha Tyler, and then she was like, "Hey, I'm the host for the rest of this thing," and the first thing they brought out was Baz Luhrmann. And I love me some Baz, and I probably butchered his last name, but Baz, he's awesome. He was so funny, And the funny thing is, he was like going on and on and on for like 10, 15 minutes. And I'm sitting there thinking, we only had like a 2-hour show. Let's get to it, Boz. Let's get to it. But, you can't shut up the great Boz. So they did this whole like 8-minute scissor reel of Boz. And I'm like, wow, Moulin Rouge. I love Moulin Rouge. I love Gatsby. I love Romeo plus Juliet. I've owned Australia for so long and I've never actually watched it. So when I get back, maybe that's what I'm going to do is watch Australia. And I haven't seen Strictly Ballroom. But it was pretty interesting because he was like, he takes a long time to make movies. He made like 5 or 6 movies in the last 30 years. So that was pretty funny. But then they talk about Elvis, and he talks about how Elvis is an anti-hero and all this and how they kind of tried to remake some of the Elvis music for modern day times and all this sort of stuff, which I am not feeling if they actually did that. There was one in the opening, so then they showed like 2 brand new like 3 or 4 minute trailers for the movie, and my God, that movie looks amazing. Amazing! And Austin Butler, wow! And if you watch Life Unexpected, which is where I know Austin Butler from, he will forever be my Jones. He, especially when he was younger in that show, you could really see how, yeah, that is inspired casting. And the clip that we saw was opening like trailer featured like a remix, modernized version of Burning Love, which I didn't like at all. And then they showed a 3-minute clip of Trouble. And my God, he embodied Elvis in that. He really truly embodied Elvis in that clip when he's like, I'm looking for trouble, do 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 do. And the weird thing is, Austin did all the songs singing in it. He apparently worked hard to get the voice right. So everything he sings in that movie is him. And if you close your eyes, he does sound just like Elvis. It was stunning. Just stunning. I loved it. I loved it so much. I think that's my highlight of the CinemaCon so far is just that 67 minutes of Elvis. I mean, wow. Just wow. And then after that, they gave us a preview. They gave us 2 previews without any stars or celebrities. And one was completely unexpected. They showed us Wonka, which is coming out December 15th, 2023. And I'm like, why are you showing me this now? I don't care about next December. I want to see what's coming out now. And Wonka looks weird and over the top and everything you expect a Wonka movie to be. And I am not a fan of prequels at all. I hate prequels. But I always find myself kind of liking them once I see them. But I hate the entire concept of prequels because you know how it all ends. You know it's not going to end well. But yeah, and it's actually done. It seems to be done as a musical or something. So it's all about Willy Wonka before he actually started his chocolate factory and his journeys. And he has this one best friend who may be a girlfriend, maybe a wife or something. So they showed the relationship between Wonka and this mysterious woman as they just do whatever it is Wonka does. And they show him kind of like, the trailer gives just enough away without giving anything away, which is what a proper trailer does. But it gives you a sense of the tone of the movie. I didn't know Wonka was going to be a musical. So yeah, it's actually a musical. With original music. I don't think it's music from the bad Broadway show that I saw in the West End. I don't think it's that. But I enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind listening to that soundtrack right now. But it's not coming out into 2023. Boo! After that, they go right into the Flash. Without any preamble, without any nothing. It was just like, Wonka, woo! And then, here's the Flash. And it was kind of done in that way, too. It was like, and here's the Flash. We don't talk about Ezra here. So yeah. But the Flash showed the new Flash clip was pretty good. It was just another 2 or 3 minute trailer. And that was the thing about the WB presentation. They showed us a lot of stuff, it seems like, but it also seems like they didn't show us anything because everything they showed was like 2 and 3 minute trailers, so we didn't get extended footage of almost nothing. And then the rest of that was padded out by like the celebrities and the directors talking everything up. It made you feel like you watched more than what you actually saw. But it was like a shell game. So the Flash 3, the 2 or 3 minutes we saw the Flash movie was really good. We got a glimpse of the 3 Flashes, and there are 3 Flashes, but they weren't all Ezra that I could tell, because the other 2 were like in shadow, and I was really eyeing. I'm like, I don't think those other 2 guys are Ezra, from the 2 different universes. But it's really neat because basically this is a Michael Keaton Batman movie. This is not going to be a Flash movie. It's like a Michael Keaton Batman movie, and I'm there for it because basically, once Flash breaks the universe, the clip shows Barry talking into like a video camera. So presumably he's probably at Wayne Manor, and it looks like he's actually in the Batcave, and he's talking to Bruce from the Batcave. And he's talking about, breaking the world and how he needs help and can you help and all this other stuff. And you see Bruce Wayne. You see Bruce Wayne from the back, and he has long shaggy hair, so he's kind of been through some stuff, as Bruce Wayne always goes through some stuff when he's older. So then you get a quick shot of Supergirl, which looked pretty awesome. And then right after that, it goes back to the front, like Michael Keaton with the buzz cut, ready to go to work, and then he says the line. He says the line, which is where he says the famous line when he's like, the clip ends with him saying, "You guess it. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." And I was like, woo! You still got it. You still got it. I mean, I was like, that's all it took for me to be 100% behind this movie, was Michael Keaton uttering one of his famous lines for Batman. When he's like, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." That was awesome. After that, Olivia Wilde came out, and I love Olivia Wilde. I really do. I admire her a hell of a lot. I mean, she's done a lot in her career, and the fact that she's like a producer and a director now, and it's pretty amazing when you see how far she's come. I haven't actually seen Booksmart, so maybe I'll watch that on Sunday or Saturday if I could get home a little bit earlier and avoid the NFL draft nonsense. But Olivia Wilde came out, and she talked about a new movie called Don't Worry, Darling. And it looks weird and wonderful and strange. It's a mystery that's kind of like Truman Show-esque, where basically all of these women seem to be in this little area, and they're basically Stepford wives and bred to be perfect wives for their husbands. But it seems like I don't know what the central mystery is. Are they all living in like a jar or something? There's a little hint of that. And like the outside world is going to be something. So maybe they're living in a literal jar and they're all miniature. And I don't know. That was the vibe I was getting. And it stars, let's see, I think her name is, it stars Florence Pugh, who I really love. And she's actually married to, her husband is played by Harry Styles. And Olivia Wilde made a funny joke about how, this young actor, up-and-coming actor, he's really good. And I don't know if he has another day job or anything, but he's really good at this acting thing. So yeah, the cast is amazing because it has it stars Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Chris Pine, and some other people. And it's coming out in September. The trailer for it just looks amazing. I'm really interested in seeing how this goes because basically it is a Truman Show or the Stepford Wives or a combination of all of that. And the central question is, if you had the perfect life, a life that was designed just for you, would you give that up to search for the truth? And that's pretty interesting. Me, I believe ignorance is bliss. So I would be I would rather be blissfully unaware. Just kind of like in the Matrix. I'd rather have that steak than like live in those pods. But yeah, that's Olivia Wilde talking about "Don't Worry, Darling." Pretty great, pretty great. And then they talk, and then it's kind of funny because they come back. Aisha Tyler is doing some riffing, and then she's bringing up Shazam, and she says the minute she says Shazam, they did a bit where Zach Levi came out, and he's like, "Well, you called Shazam, and I came out," and they're like, "Well, you're not supposed to come out yet," and it was pretty funny. I love Zach Levi. He's awesome, and he knows me. Not that I want to be arrogant or anything, but he knows me. Because I used to talk to him a lot during the Chuck days. I was all about that Chuck. So yeah, it was really cool. So he came out, and then he brought out the two kids. They're not so kiddie anymore. They're like teenagers. They're like sprouted up. Billy and the two kids who played Billy and Freddie. They went from here to like they're almost as tall as me. And it was really funny because they did a bit where she says, "And Dane," and then next thing you know, Helen Mirren comes out, and and they showed us a clip of the movie. They talking all about the movie, and Helen talks a little bit about her role as the bad guy, and she's like, "What? Is she really the bad guy? All villains think they're doing something good," which is true. No one really thinks they're the bad guy. So that happened, and then they showed like a 3-minute footage, and there was a lot of like really like fun moments in it because Helen Mirren is in it. They made a bunch of like Fast and Furious jokes, and it was so funny. There's this one moment where he's talking to Helen Mirren, and he's like, "And you know what they say? It's all about family." And you're like, it's funny. I wish they didn't have that moment in the trailer because it would have been so much funnier and real, if they held those kind of moments for like an actual theatrical show. But it was so funny the way he said it, and he said it with such conviction too. And they didn't even show up. They didn't even show up, and he says it like 3 times. And like, it's about family. And he's like, "Come on, guys, we rehearsed this and we workshopped it, and you were supposed to always show up at once." So yeah, that was good. And then it starts off with this funny moment with with him on a date with Shazam on a date with Wonder Woman at dinner or something. I mean, you only see Wonder Woman from the back, and you kept thinking, "Oh my God, is she really going to be there?" And she's not. But you thought they did a really good job of framing the back, so you really thought it was her. It may have been, but it was a setup for a joke. So yeah, looked awesome. Then after that, they did Aquaman. And the Aquaman stuff was pretty neat because they first showed like on the screen, it was like just the water. And again, in that CinemaCon room with the 12.1 Atmos mix, and it's like, you see the water like coming at you and turning into ice and breaking, and you hear that, and you hear it in that environment. Wow. It was awesome. And then it cuts to a clip of Jason Momoa in Hawaii, and he's like, "Hey, I wish I could breathe," blah, 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 blah. But here's my man James Wan to come and talk about the movie. So then James Wan came out. Little known fact, I did one of the very first interviews James Wan ever conducted. And it was supposed to be a 15-minute interview, and we went 90 minutes talking about Saw. And this was like 6 months before Saw came out, and he was amazing. He was an amazing interview back then. I've never talked to him since then. He probably doesn't even know who I am. But it was amazing, and his entire career path just astounds me from the humble beginnings of Saw, because he actually got Saw made, and the funding for Saw he did a short film, that opening scene in Saw where the woman has like the clamps and stuff on her face. That was his calling card. So he showed that to financiers, and he went all over Hollywood showing that clip to people. and that's how he got funding, and that's how he made Saw, and the rest is history. Now he's doing big things like Aquaman. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And they did a short sizzle reel where, just another EPK B-roll footage of James Wan talking about Aquaman, which was kind of redundant because he had already just talked to the audience about Aquaman. So the clip they showed was basically EPK of him talking about Aquaman with some quick clips of the movie, and we find out that Orm is in this, and it looks like he and Aquaman and Orm are going to form kind of like a weird little family. And they're going to kind of mend their fences. Black Mantis is going to be a huge part of this movie and probably one of the big bads of this movie. And apparently he now has mystical powers, and I kind of hate it when they take a human and give them random powers. So he's going to be more of a threat to Aquaman in this movie. The set pieces look brilliant. I'm really looking forward to Aquaman. And when is Aquaman coming out? It's coming out December. Oh, it's coming out this year, December 22. Awesome. And then after that, James Wan came back out. He spent 1 minute to talk about Salem's Lot, and there was no footage or anything, and all they had was an image of Salem's Lot coming in this summer, 2022. And you're like, if you're not going to show footage or tell us anything about the movie, really, why even put this up here and waste our time? That was my thought. But yeah, Salem's Lot. And then after that, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. What do you say about the man? The man is awesome. And it was really funny because he's on video and he's like, sorry, CinemaCon, I'm in Hawaii, my favorite place, and this is spending time with the family and all this other stuff. So he plays the bit for like a good 2 minutes, and he's saying welcome NATO owners, and then he's like, F this, and then you see him start walking, and it actually ended up being in Vegas. So the man's a showman. The man is a showman. And the one thing I love about The Rock is he really does it all. He's really involved with every aspect of his productions. And you can tell because when he comes to CinemaCon, he knows all the big exhibitors by their names. He's always calling them out and giving them their props. And he's like, hey, here's Butters over here. What's up, Butters? And Elvis from CinemaCon, I hear you got an award, Elvis. And I'm sure if you're like Elvis and like the head of like Regal, and where my Regal folks at? I hear you got 500 people here. And Regal is like, this entire audience is like Regal people. So The Rock knows how to work a room. He's awesome, especially in environments like CinemaCon, because you can tell he has a really deep love and understanding of the business. And that's what he's all about, is that business. So he talks about Super Pets again, and I'm sorry, that movie looks horrible, but I'm not gonna lie, I do occasionally get a chuckle out of the trailers and stuff, but I'm not watching that movie. I'll watch the movie when it comes to HBO Max or something, and even then I may not, but I hate Kevin Hart, I do. But Super Pets. You know what Super Pets is. After that, he does Black Adam. So yeah, he was talking about Black Adam, and again, he used his line, the power of the DC universe is going to change, and we actually use Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry as a touch star for Black Adam, because basically, Black Adam is Dirty Harry of the superhero movies genre. And then he brought out Noah Centineo. I always butcher his last name. Another little known fact, people. We did one of the first interviews with Noah ever did. It was right when he got his when they surprised announced that he was going to be on one of my all-time favorite shows. And I can't even think of it now. Oh God, I'm blanking. Someone's gonna tell me. Freeform. I watched that show religiously. I wrote fan fiction. Yes, occasionally I write fan fiction. Oh God, I can't even think of it. Callie and the Fosters, duh. So basically, he was a replacement on the Fosters for a character, and they announced it while our very own Laura Bofill was on the set of the Fosters, and Mayor Mitchell and no one even knew he was cast, and they cast him, and from there he was on the Fosters for a couple of years. Then he went on to do those Netflix movies, and the rest is history, as they say. But yeah, so he was out there. They had another woman there who was playing the Red Tornado's daughter or something, and she was going to have the power of the Red Tornado. They're going to introduce the Justice League and Black Adam. So Black Adam is looking pretty amazing. He showed like 2 or 3 minutes from the Black Adam. I don't know if there's really anything I could talk about with that footage because it is basically just a random action sequence with the Black Adam doing badass Black Adam things. Nothing really to write home about, but it looked awesome, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I didn't see where the release date of the Black Adam is. I think the Black Adam's coming out this year as well, so I'm not sure what they're doing with the DCEU, where they're having the Black Adam, Shazam, and then they're going to have the Flash, which is going to reset everything. So I don't know. I don't know where DC is going with all of this stuff. But the Flash will reset everything. So I think it kind of makes sense for them to push the Flash back until late next year, so that way you get all these movies out of the way. You have Flashpoint come in, reset, and then you could do a whole new slate of movies that's going to make a little more sense. all of that makes sense to me. Because the reset, that for the Flash to come out first with Flashpoint, and you do your DCEU reset, and then you come out with Shazam and all this other stuff, that's going to confuse people more than necessary. So I think it's still going to confuse. It's a mess. It's a mess, people. So anyway, yeah, that was the WB presentation. Then after that, after the WB presentation wrapped up, there's another dinner party thrown by Meta. Food was kind of terrible. And then we came back and saw the Black Phone. And I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say about the Black Phone, but I quite enjoyed that movie. And I like the fact that it was I can't say anything. I can't say why I really liked it without giving away major spoilers. And then the CinemaCon folks would see this, and then they'll come in like drag me out of Caesars by my hair and throw me on a plane without a parachute, without an engine. They'll just throw me off the roof or something. So I'm not going to say anything about the Black Phone. But I really loved it. I thought it was a solid movie. But yeah, I want to talk about it, but I can't. So anyway, that's CinemaCon Day Deuce on the agenda today. Boop, 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 boop. We got Disney at 9 a.m. So we have 2 hours of Disney. After Disney, I'm going to go spend a half hour with the Christie's folks. Then I'm going to try to squeeze in some time on the showroom floor, because the CinemaCon showroom floor is one of my favorite convention floors because they always have food and drink and everything, plenty. So yeah, I'm going to do that. And then at 4 p.m., we have... What do we have at 4 p.m.? Universal Focus. So lots of Jurassic World nonsense will be there. And then, at Focus, we're going to get some Downtown Abbey. And if you follow my tweets, I started binge watching. I watched Downtown Abbey for the first time like a month ago. And I got into this whole binge where I watched the entire series. I love Downtown Abbey, so I'm so looking forward to the trailer now. I understand it. I've seen the trailer, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. But I finally watched the trailer again after I watched the show, and I'm like, ooh, Daisy, and I love Downtown Abbey. It just makes me laugh. It really does. I love Downtown Abbey. And then after that, there's some party. There's a party at the Omnia, and then there's a NATO Mitsura reception thing. So I'll go to that. I'll be uncomfortable because I'll be the only one I know there and all this other stuff. I'm sure I know other people there. But yeah, that's my day. That's what's happening today. So I'll probably try to get you another video tomorrow morning. So I hope if you watched all of this nonsense, please hit that like and subscribe button. I'm doing this for you, people. So anyway, talk to you guys later. Bye.